Hi, I'm Noah, 29, and I've always been the thoughtful one in my family. So of course, when my parents hit their 40th anniversary, I went big. I gifted them a fully paid trip to Japan. Kyoto temples, hot spring ryokans, a private sushi tour with a Michelin-starred chef. Everything meticulously planned and covered. Flights, luxury hotels, even their travel insurance. I spent 3 months organizing it down to the bento boxes. And here's the twist, I included an extra ticket. Just in case I wanted to bring someone. At the time, I was engaged. To Eva. We'd been together 5 years. But 3 weeks before I finalized the trip, we broke up. Messy breakup. She cheated. I found out from a mutual friend, and when I confronted her, she said, "You've been more focused on your parents than me lately." Like that explained it. So yeah, I left the extra ticket blank. I figured I'd just use it myself and join them. Family reunion, solo healing. I was still raw but looking forward to Kyoto's quiet and clean air. Thought maybe it'd help me breathe again. Then I got to the airport. And everything imploded. My parents were already through security, waving excitedly at me like 2 kids heading to Disney. But standing between them, in full matching travel gear, was Eva. My ex-fiancée. Wearing the exact silk scarf I got her last Christmas. She waved too. Like we were fine. Like none of this was psychotic. I didn't understand. I thought maybe she was just there. Saying goodbye? I pulled my mom aside. "What is she doing here?" My mom blinked like I'd asked what color the sky was. "She's coming with us, sweetie." "Why?" I hissed. She smiled, like this was a surprise party, and I was being ungrateful. "We had the extra ticket. We didn't want it to go to waste." My dad chimed in helpfully. "We just thought maybe you two would reconnect. We miss her energy." I looked at them. My parents. The people I just gifted a once-in-a-lifetime trip. And they were smiling like this was matchmaking, not betrayal. "She cheated on me," I said. "You know that, right?" They exchanged a look. One of those tight-lipped, neutral expressions that meant we don't want to pick sides. "We just wanted to keep the family together," my mom said. "By replacing me with my ex?" I said. They both looked uncomfortable. My dad muttered, "Well, you never actually confirmed you'd join us." I stared at them, my chest hollowing out in real time. "So you gave my seat, my gift, to the woman who broke me?" Eva, a few feet away, was adjusting her carry-on strap and pretending not to listen, but she was definitely listening. She even smiled at me like we were in on some inside joke. I could feel the panic starting to rise. I didn't scream. I didn't curse. I just turned around, walked out of the terminal, and booked the next flight home. They messaged me from Narita Airport. Selfies. Group shots with captions like, "Reunited!" and "Kyoto, here we come!" I didn't respond. I couldn't. Not yet. I landed back in L.A. before they even touched down in Tokyo. I didn't go home. I went straight to my buddy Ryan's place, the one person who'd seen me through every part of the Eva disaster. He opened the door, saw my face, and just said, "No way." "What happened now?" I told him everything. Airport. Eva. My seat. The words just spilled out like I was bleeding them. And when I got to the part about my parents smiling and calling it a family reunion, he actually dropped his Red Bull. "They invited your ex to Japan. With your ticket. That you paid for. Every yen," I said, half laughing, half shaking. Ryan sat down hard on the couch. "Bro. That's not just tone deaf. That's tactical betrayal. It wasn't even the money. Okay, yes, it was a lot of money. But it was more than that. It was what it said, that they missed her more than they missed me. That keeping Eve around meant more than respecting what I'd gone through. That the effort I put into that trip, into making them feel seen and celebrated, was worth less than her energy." I kept trying to make it make sense. I opened the trip itinerary on my phone and just stared at it. Day 3, Arashiyama Bamboo Grove, kimono fitting. Day 5, private tea ceremony. Day 8, Ghibli Museum. I picked that for my mom. She used to cry every time she rewatched My Neighbor Totoro. And now she was walking through that place. With Eva. I didn't sleep that night. I just kept refreshing Instagram. And sure enough, Eva started posting. Not just group shots, couple-style selfies with my mom. Captions like, "Love these two so much." #found family. I wanted to throw my phone across the room. Then she posted a picture of her with my dad outside Kyoto Temple, smiling like they were co-parents at a PTA meeting. "A sacred place with sacred people," she wrote. I read that line over and over until I felt sick. Ryan said, "You need to do something. You need to burn the earth." But I didn't want revenge. I wanted clarity. I wanted to know why. Why they thought this was okay. Why I was always the one expected to understand. So I called my mom. She picked up after 4 rings. "Noah? Is everything all right? You gave my gift away," I said. To her. There was a pause, and then she sighed. "Noah, it was a beautiful gesture. But you never said you were coming for sure." I didn't say Eva was coming either. "She's practically family," she said, and my jaw clenched so hard I thought a molar might crack. "She's not family. She cheated on me. You know that." Another pause. Then, "People make mistakes." I laughed, sharp and joyless. "Are you serious? That's your takeaway?" She sounded tired. "Sweetheart, it's been a hard year. We all needed this trip." "Oh, we all needed it," I said. "Because I really needed to fund a luxury honeymoon for my ex and the parents who replaced me." "Noah." I hung up. That night, I wrote them an email. Not angry. Not mean. Just the facts. I told them I was done being the understanding one. That I wouldn't be footing the bill for any more golden anniversaries or dream trips. That when they came home, I wouldn't be there. I clicked send. Then I moved out of my apartment, deactivated our shared family calendar, and booked a solo trip to Iceland. I figured if they wanted silence, I'd give it to them in a language they couldn't speak. 3 weeks later, I was standing under a waterfall in Iceland when my phone buzzed. The irony wasn't lost on me. My parents were probably soaking in an onsen back in Japan, sipping green tea with Eva, and I was out here in freezing wind and volcanic steam, alone, trying to wash the betrayal off me like it was something skin deep. I didn't check the message until I got back to the hotel. My hands were numb. My heart more so. It was a group text. From my dad. Eva left. Just 2 words. No punctuation. No emojis. Not even a sad face. My first thought was, good. My second thought was, wait, what? Then another message came through, this time from my mom. She booked her own flight and left us in Hiroshima. She said she had other opportunities. Noah, we didn't know. We didn't know she'd do this. Attached was a photo. My mom, sitting alone on a temple step, looking absolutely gutted. Makeup smeared. Shoulders hunched. A woman who realized too late that the person she brought on a healing trip had just twisted the knife deeper. Then came the final text. Again, from my dad. And this one stopped me cold. We picked her over you. And she picked no one. I stared at those words for a long time. In a weird, twisted way, it was satisfying. Like watching karma finally show up with a clipboard and start checking names. But it didn't make me feel better. It just made everything sadder. They'd gambled on a fantasy, that Eva could glue us back together. And instead they found out the hard way that glue doesn't work on broken trust. I didn't respond right away. I let them stew in it. Call me petty, but I felt like they owed me silence. A long, echoing silence that sounded a lot like shame. Back in Reykjavik, I got coffee at this tiny cafe near the harbor. The kind with one barista and jazz playing at 10 a.m. I sat by the window, looking at the boats, thinking about how weird it was that this whole mess had started with a gift. A generous, expensive, deeply personal gift, that they turned into a group project with my ex. And now here we were. 3 parties. 3 very different endings. Eva vanished. Likely off to seduce some other family into loving her. My parents, stranded emotionally and physically thousands of miles from the kid who actually loved them. And me? I ordered another coffee. Because somewhere between the airport betrayal and this Icelandic exile, I realized something huge. I wasn't the problem. I wasn't too sensitive. I wasn't too cold. I wasn't too unforgiving. I was just tired of being treated like the bonus track on my own life album. And that's when I made a decision. I booked a ticket. One way. Not home. Not to Japan. I was going to Florence. I had an old friend there, a girl I'd met back in college. We'd stayed in touch in that easy, low-maintenance way where no one ever feels like a burden. Her last message to me? If you ever need an escape, you've got a couch here and a Vespa with your name on it. I packed light. Left my parents on read. And stepped fully into the era of giving gifts only to people who deserved them. Florence was warm. Loud. Honest. It smelled like espresso and motor oil and wet cobblestones after rain. I hadn't smiled in weeks, but the second I stepped off the train and saw Maddie standing on the platform in a paint-splattered denim jacket, holding a sign that said, "Noah, broken but fixable," I laughed so hard I startled an old man behind me. She threw her arms around me, then pulled back and looked me over like a mechanic checking for leaks. "Damn," she said. "You've got full existential crisis face. Perfect. Let's ruin your liver and heal your soul." We didn't talk about my parents right away. Maddie was smart like that. She let me settle into her tiny apartment above a ceramic studio. Let me drink too much wine at dinner. Let me ride her Vespa through the hills at sunset and pretend, for 3 whole days, that betrayal didn't have a forwarding address. But eventually it came up. We were sitting on the roof with cheap gelato and a portable speaker playing Hozier. She asked softly, "So what really happened? You texted me from Iceland like a man halfway through a Greek tragedy." And I told her. About the trip. The surprise Eva. The airport horror movie. The photos. The silence. The texts from Hiroshima. All of it. She listened like it was her job. No interruptions. No pity faces. Just this steady presence that made everything spill out easier than I expected. When I finished, I looked at her, expecting judgment or disbelief. Instead, she said, "That's not just betrayal. That's identity theft. They took your spot and gave it to a walking red flag in a silk scarf." I barked out a laugh. "You should be a therapist." She leaned back on her elbows. "No thanks. I'd end up getting sued for honesty." Then she got serious. "Look, Noah. You give people the benefit of the doubt like it's candy at a parade. And your parents, they're used to you being the peacekeeper. The fixer. But peacekeepers get casualties too. I just wanted them to feel celebrated." I muttered. "And instead they celebrated your replacement." That hit harder than it should have. Because it was true. And once you admit something like that, it starts to unstick all the things you've been holding in place with denial and duct tape. I went quiet. Maddie let the silence breathe. Then she said, "You don't owe them another chance just because they finally got their feelings hurt. You owe you a chance to live like you're not a background character in their story." The next morning, I woke up to an email from my mom. Subject, "Please read." No emojis. That alone told me she was serious. "Noah, we messed up. We know it. We're not asking for a pass. We're asking for a start. Eva told us what we wanted to hear. You always tell us what we need to hear, and maybe that's harder to listen to. The trip wasn't supposed to be a family reunion. We turned it into one, and in doing so, we erased the person who made it possible. We miss you. We're sorry. When we're home, we'd like to talk. Not to fix it, but to sit in it. Love. Mom and Dad too." He dictated half of this while eating seaweed chips. I didn't reply. Not yet. Instead, I stood on Maddie's rooftop and watched the sun rise over red-tiled roofs and thought, for the first time in my life, I'm not rushing to repair what they broke. Maybe I'll write back. Maybe I won't. But either way, the story's mine now. 2 weeks later, they were back. And I mean really back, back in the country, back in the time zone, back in my inbox. I'd returned to L.A. By then, feeling, not healed, but lighter. Maddie called it post-betrayal clarity. You start noticing how quiet peace is. How loud the people were who kept you tangled. You stopped chasing noise that used to sound like love. They tried calling first. I ignored it. Then a package showed up. Brown cardboard, no return address, but I recognized my mom's handwriting on the label. Inside, a small wooden box. Inside that? My childhood camera, the disposable kind I used to run around with at age 9, and a stack of developed photos. They were from Japan. But not the smiling, curated Instagram stuff. Not the ones with Eva. These were blurry shots of temples. Rain on windows. A shadow on a rock path. My dad looking off into a koi pond. My mom's hand resting on the edge of a bento tray. Quiet photos. Sad photos. Taped to the bottom of the box was a note in my dad's all-caps block letters. We missed the point. These were supposed to have you in them. That one hit me straight in the sternum. That night, I finally answered one of their calls. My dad picked up first. Noah? Silence. Then my mom's voice, trembling. Hi, baby. I didn't say anything for a long time. Not because I didn't have things to say, because I had too many. All pressing against the inside of my ribs, trying to squeeze out at once. So I asked the simplest thing. Why? My mom inhaled. Because we thought it would bring you back together. With her? I said. With her? We thought, if we could all be there again, it might heal something. That maybe you'd see her differently. That we'd all remember the good years. You mean the years before she cheated on me? She didn't answer. I could hear my dad sigh, low and long. It wasn't about her, Noah. It was about us. About losing you. We didn't know how to get you back, so we went for what was familiar. You gave my seat to the reason I left. I said flatly. I know, he said. And we'll never stop being ashamed of it. Then my mom quietly said, she left us halfway through the trip. Told us we were exhausting. Said she needed to expand her personal brand. I snorted. Sounds about right. We deserved it. My dad said. We set fire to our relationship with you and handed her the match. For a minute, I didn't know what to say. It was weird, how much I wanted to scream at them and how equally tired I was of carrying that scream around. I need time, I finally said. Take it, my mom said. We're not asking for anything. There was a pause. And then my dad. We are, actually. One thing. What? When you're ready, he said. Let us see you. Not to fix anything. Just to know we didn't lose you forever. I didn't promise them that. But I didn't hang up either. We talked for another 5 minutes. About weather. About Maddie. About the ceramic mug my mom broke in Kyoto and how she tried to glue it back together, only to realize it looked better cracked and visible. Kintsugi, I thought. The art of golden repair. Maybe we weren't ready for gold. But at least we'd stopped pretending the pieces didn't matter. A year to the day after I stood in the airport watching my parents walk off to Japan with my ex-fiancée in my seat, I found myself standing outside their house again. Same driveway. Same stucco walls. Same little windshield by the front door that's always sounded like it's apologizing. But this time, everything felt different. Because I wasn't coming back to fix anything. I was coming back whole. Inside, the house smelled like garlic and soy sauce, my mom's version of fusion night. They'd invited me to dinner again. No guilt trips. No big expectations. Just food. Family. And maybe a little redemption. When I walked in, they both stood up, not rushed, not forced. Just present. My dad hugged me first, awkward and firm. Hey kid, he said. My mom hugged me longer. You look healthy, she said. I wasn't sure if it was a compliment or a warning, but I smiled anyway. Dinner was simple: grilled salmon, rice, stir-fried vegetables, and a dessert they tried to pass off as mochi but was absolutely just ice cream wrapped in rice paper. Still, they tried. And this time, trying felt like something I could accept. Halfway through the meal, my dad cleared his throat and pulled out a folder. My heart stuttered for a second. Please not a slideshow, I thought. Please not another apology wrapped in PowerPoint. He slid the folder to me. "What's this?" I asked. He looked at my mom, then back at me. "It's your name. On the trust. On the house. On everything we used to hold close but never shared." I blinked. "You're putting me on your trust?" My mom nodded. "Because you've always shown up. Even when we didn't deserve it. And because we finally realized something, you don't owe us your loyalty. We have to earn your trust, not the other way around." I opened the folder. Legal documents. Signatures. Witnessed. Notarized. They weren't giving me control out of guilt. They were naming me because, for the first time, they saw me as the person who stayed, not the one who left. I swallowed hard. "I don't need your house," I said. "I needed you to listen. We are now," my mom said. Loud and clear. Then my dad, gruff but steady. "We messed up, Noah. We chose familiarity over respect. Nostalgia over truth. And we hurt the one person who's done nothing but love us with intention." I didn't cry. Not this time. I think part of me had done enough crying in Kyoto, through screens, in silence, on Maddie's rooftop in Florence. But I felt something loosen in my chest. Something that had been tight for too long. After dinner, we didn't do a speech. We did the dishes. Together. No performance. No passive-aggressive remarks about how I rinsed the plates. Just normal. When I left, my mom handed me a photo. It was the same one they tried to take in Japan, the one that was supposed to have me in it. But this time, she'd printed a new version. The three of us in the backyard, just a week ago. Me holding a bowl of overcooked rice. My mom laughing. My dad mid-sneeze. It wasn't beautiful. It wasn't curated. But it was real. "Frame this," she said, "so we remember which version of us is worth keeping." I took it. Not out of obligation. But because for once, I wanted to. Back in my apartment, I pinned the photo next to the red envelope they'd given me. The one they'd never had the courage to hand over at the airport. And beside that, I pinned the boarding pass. The one they rebooked after Eva left. The one with my name on it. And used. Unscanned. They'd sent it with a handwritten note months ago. "Still your seat. If you ever want it." I kept it as a reminder. Not of what they did, but of what I chose. I chose not to board a plane with people who couldn't see me. I chose silence when their noise became unbearable. I chose Florence. Iceland. My own healing. And now? I was choosing them again. Carefully. With limits. With eyes open. With the understanding that love without respect is just performance. I used to think that being the good son meant always forgiving, always giving second chances. But now I know the truth. Being a good son means knowing when to walk away, and when to walk back in on your own terms. And that sometimes the greatest gift you can give your family isn't a dream trip across the world. It's boundaries. It's truth. It's finally saying, "This is who I am. And this time, I'm not shrinking to fit back into your idea of me." So no, I never went to Japan. But I finally arrived somewhere better. Home. On my terms. And this time, my seat is exactly where I left it, not empty, not erased. Just waiting. In case I ever want to take the journey again. But only if I'm invited. For real. And never again as the second choice.